Hey everybody, how we doing? It's your boy G Good. Everybody else knows me, who grew up with me and or comment with me knows me as God French. Today's a special edition of our newsletter. Sorry, excuse me. Clear up my voice. It's early in the morning. We're just getting started. Of our newsletter. And I want to thank anybody that joins and follows and knows me, and you know what I mean. I'm going to use this space to talk about a few things that surrounds us in our world, common awareness. That's why it's called the general issue. Things that we have issues with, major issues with, little issues with. Things that affect our lives, the general science of life, trying to figure out these nuances and these spaces that between us and how to work them out and build our communities and ourselves. And just a space to, talk, debate, have conversations about just what's in our minds, our hearts, our spirits, in our communities, in our worlds, general awareness. So today's Father's Day. I want to big up all the fathers from the start. Blessed love, respect to all the fathers out there. Those who are doing their job, who are on their job, taking care of their kids. Those who cannot be with their kids through any circumstance. We praise you. We thank you. Keep doing your job. Stay on your job. Those who are, for any circumstance, that have issues, who may be locked down and at war and overseas, and that too, our hearts go out to you. We're not forgetting about you guys, all right, for sure, because I know you're away. Every father thinks about their kids. They love their kids dearly, no matter the circumstance, and they want to make sure that their kids are protected and well taken care of. And I know on a day like this, receiving a call from my brother. I can't even answer right now because I'm live. I'll give him back a call in a second. Morning, Crystal. How we doing? So I'm going to just go over a few things. The phone's ringing. You guys can probably hear it. The sound a little annoying. I'll take that off right there. Yeah, if you're watching, share it with somebody, man. Get them on. This is going to be good. We're going to talk about a few things. And just personally, a few things that's in the air. I think a major issue we should talk about this morning as fathers is integrity. And I'm going to use a topic, like I say, our newsletter is going to talk about a lot of things, sports and entertainment, what's going on in the world, politics. And so I'm just going to use something out in the air that maybe not everybody's is aware of. But if you watch sports and you're aware of ESPN, you know about Stephen A. So we're going to start there for a second. And where this pertains to relativity, how it's relative to us where we live, especially as men, and the things that we see. Because Stephen A. recently stepped on a landmine when he crossed over his statements with Jaylen Brown. And I don't know if anybody keeps up with Jaylen Brown. Once again, for those who are in the world of sports and entertainment and follow sports, we're going to cross dimensions. With this newsletter, we're going to cross dimensions. You're going to learn about the planes of the levels of life and how we intersect and cross into these things. Jaylen Brown actually is doing a study on this. So before the comments that Stephen A. made about Jaylen Brown stood in front of a class, I think of at MIT, and he was speaking about a study that was done by someone way back about the interference between the media and forming our world, right? It's really deep. Obviously, once again, if you're following, you understand that this kid is extremely smart. I put up a post a while back that says the NBA is paying Jaylen Brown not to become Elon Musk, because this kid is so brilliant that the money that they're paying him in the NBA compared to what he can actually do as an individual is incomparable. He can basically be Elon Musk and the guy and Jeff Bezos at the same time. This is why Stephen A, the culmination of all these things came out down to why Stephen A said what he said. So back to integrity. We're going to roll through a bunch of things: religion, spirituality, psychology, biology, physics, ideology, all kind of metaphors and things. But just stay with me, because once again, it's all in the basis of being relative to what's important to us and what's happening with us in our lives. Stephen A made a comment that someone told him something, and he's a journalist, and there's a rule in journalism that you don't have to give up your source. Now, I'm going to tell you something about rules. Rules were made to protect, obviously made to protect people involved in certain situations. Now, Stephen A is giving a report, so we're going to talk about awareness now and integrity, how integrity ties to a report. And this is, fathers, as something, these are things that we need to hold on to as we speak to our children, and we pass on things to our children. So a report is not only a tool of observation. A report can also be used as a tool of control. For those who are aware, back to Jaylen Brown, super aware individual, super smart. And this is what his study is about the control and the effect of the media in forming this society of what we live in. So now, if you understand this, you know that this dude is tapping into something way bigger than just basketball, and he's tapping into something. This is a study that's been passed down that, all right, he entered into a brilliant mind. Stephen A doesn't want to give up his source, right? So this is where I'm going to speak about integrity. Stephen A, being as super aware as he is, and he speaks the way that he does, speaks about his brotherhood, speaks about his upbringing, speaks about his position, speaks about his understanding of his control and his power and his position. Okay, this always speaks about being super aware. The opportunities that were presented to him that he had to fight for, and the pathways that he's also created for other individuals. This is nothing against Stephen A personally. This is just something, again, we're examining dimensions in place and time, peoples in place and time. So he puts out a report kind of bashing Jaylen Brown, that it just comes out of nowhere. But yet still, a person who is super aware will go on national TV for some reason and just say, hey, somebody told me something and I'm going to say this. Corey Holcomb always calls Stephen A boy. I'm saying that basically he just has to do what the network tells him to do. So obviously, if something like that comes down, somebody told him to say that. Because if you keep up with the show, Stephen A always says, I speak for my brothers. So if it was a brother that told him, if you watch the show, entering an aware mind, and you're keeping up from the way that he speaks and the formulation of his thought. These are things you have to tell your kids about, how to examine and read the world. Once again, I'm speaking to my brothers, I'm speaking to the dads, I'm speaking to everyone out there. All right, this is the general issue. So if you're gonna say you get this information, and like I say, how Stephen A speaks, I speak for my brothers, I speak from a place of this and that, and so forth. If it was a brother that told him, he would have said, a brother told me this. If it was, you know what I mean, information entering into a mind, an aware mind, just the formulation of a thought. So we're not going to stay there too long. So I took it personally because I love Jaylen Brown. He's my favorite player. I think he's like the closest thing we got to Michael Jordan. I think he sacrificed a lot to get him where the Celtics are right now. And to say how smart that dude is, I know from watching him, because I've been a basketball player. Jaylen Brown is like basically playing with half his brain. He's taken his team to the championship, to the playoffs for the last 5 years using half his brain. He's actually had to turn off half of his brain to play basketball. And once again, with the study that he's doing, me saying this is pressing against a wall that I hope he doesn't see this until like maybe after the playoffs. because all of this is in the study of what's in the culmination back to Stephen A. being on TV, saying what he said. We're going to get back to integrity and relativity. It's all included. So now we have a situation where everybody is upset about Stephen A. saying this, because you've always talked about you have this integrity, and now you're running back on your journalist stance. When a brother says something, you stand up for your brothers. Okay, now back to this whole Diddy thing. Things that's in the air. How come all of this is going on with Diddy, and people ask the question, how come nobody's speaking up to Diddy? See how the relevance is, the connection, just in dimensions. Now check this out. Back to Stephen A. saying that. So why would you say that, Stephen A.? What's the relevance of it? Isaiah Thomas comes out and say, hey, I know Jaylen Brown, and I'm gonna put my name on it. This is that kind of person. So now this is directly to the fathers. You ever tell your kids not to do something, and then they catch you doing it, and then you tell them you didn't see that? So now all that structure that you was building with your kids to be justice and righteous and do the truth, never tell a lie, and those things, at that moment, what happened to all of that structure you were building with your kids? If you're doing that to your kids right now, stop it. Don't ever do it again. Because I'm going to tell you what happens. That goes into a place of dementia. Once again, we're talking about dimensions. You hear how these words tie together? Because now that kid's going to sit there and just look off like, this doesn't connect. So from then, if you've done that to a child from young, you've already started a status of disconnect with that child in their mental thinking process, and thinking that that's a way to operate. So that's what Stephen A. just did to the world. You didn't see that. You didn't hear that. You check what I'm saying? Once again, that rule with journalism, we're now in relativity and in the creation of things that could never really exist, because everything needs to be recorded and observed and connect to the idea for you to formulate the next thought. So if you're doing that to your children, right, like Stephen A. is trying to do to everybody in the whole world, once again with awareness, and we're talking about integrity here. How aware is Stephen A. to the fact that he says that he's so aware? And this is once again for us just being normal men in our level of everyday life. How aware are we of ourselves? And me again breaking the dimension and mentioning to Jaylen Brown, like, dude, I am this aware of you. How do you live in a world knowing that there's other people and other things this aware of you? How do you operate? Once again, to the study of what Jaylen Brown is saying, and how the media is trying to formulate from within the media. These people are trying to write these stories to formulate our lives out here, and somehow we succumb to it. Not all the time, we're not realizing it. It happens habitually over time, just kind of like the frog in the water theory. Once again, how these things tie together. I might say I'm not that smart, but these theories and these philosophies, once again, jump through many industries, many dimensions, many thoughts, many places. All right, so back to the dads again and this integrity thing. So now I see this to the point where I'm upset in a state where we have this, what's it called, this cancel culture. I don't even want to watch ESPN no more. Because if you're going to support that type of stuff, that means the whole system is like that. So what else in the system isn't like that? Makes me start to question other things. And where I start to question, I just don't want to be bothered with it. That might be something you want to pass on. If I got to question this thing too much, once again, I can't get a conclusive thought. It's not really relative to my everyday life. Yet still, they're using this to form things around us. Because you see, with them throwing that wrench in there, why would you talk about Jaylen Brown right before the championship? Why? Why would you attack that man's character's integrity right before the championship, Stephen A.? From some ghost whisperer. I don't get it. You see what I mean? I don't get it. So when it comes to that, it's like, done with that. Got more important things to worry about as a father, like my kids. Working, being industrious, that type of stuff. Which is the general issue for all fathers, back to the topic, for all men, even for most all people. You know, the general issue is not getting distracted by all of that stuff. And there's an equation which I just explained how to find out where the outlier is. So this is information you can pass on to your son and your daughter when they're sitting in a room with, and things are going on. This is how you find out where the outlier is. Where's that information coming from? This is how to read, not just books. What's in front of you. Where's that information coming from, Stephen A? Why is it so prevalent? It's got to be coming from somebody with some kind of power for you to just come out of nowhere under the laws of journalism, where you can, where we can create a criteria of news and information. We can create it. It doesn't have to be actual, because this is sports entertainment once again. So the way how we take it, you know, still there's no conclusive thought. It doesn't loop around to why that person says that. Now it's a bunch of speculation. Well, it alludes to the fact that he is smarter. Is that the way is that the way that the media wants to project that this young man is smart? They could have just positively came out and just gave him a trophy and a holiday. Hey, y'all need to look at Jaylen Brown. This dude is exceptional. Once again, how we should look at each other and our children. Because I'm upset looking at Jaylen Brown like my brother. I'm upset looking at Jaylen Brown because of how I admire this young man as like my son. I have cousins, I have nephews, I have friends that I grew up with playing sports. So being in that kind of world, there's an ethnicity, there's a culture, there's a, you know what I'm saying, that you just admonish, you're into. When you look at athletes and you see people coming up, even to the WNBA, that's another topic. And I wish people would just, once again, we're in a different time. The WNBA is forming. It's just like when Bill Russell and those guys was there. It's brand new. It's forming. So they're going to go through the same steps once again, the dimensions in time and the media and things. They're going to go through the same steps as the NBA went through. The NBA went through that time when they had their racial culture, when they had issues with race. And then who solved that? Magic and Bird. Just like the young lady Reese and Caitlin. It's their time. They're gonna solve that issue. And then Michael Jordan's gonna come down the pipeline later. So for all the hype that's going on now and this extensive electricity that's going on now, if you really check the history of how things grow, once again, these are things that we need to pass on to our children, that they can hold on and not get too excited and caught up in hype and know, hey, there's a way that things grow, the science of life. So I'm watching the WNBA and I'm waiting for it to grow. I've known girls since I was in high school, and that's almost 30 years ago, that could dunk. And none of them made it to the NBA, to the WNBA. I know girls right now that can dunk, and you probably might never see them. You see what I mean? Because once again, the media and how they project these things, there's actually people out here better than people in the NBA. I can show you some people. You know what I mean? But once again, as our children look at us, there's a guy that I know that his child might be just take him his dad, disrespect him every day, don't even know there's dudes in the NBA. If they saw his dad, they'd walk across the street and you know what I'm saying? If I'm telling you, there's that life exists in all industries, whether you're a carpenter, whether you're a painter, whether you're a rapper, a singer, whatever you're a marketer, dentist, you know, and you have to let your kids be aware of this. And once again, they're reading individuals so they can hold a specific morale as far as moving out into this world and being successful individuals. So yeah, man, this is just the first edition. I wanted to touch base and kind of set the tone, just to show you, like, you know, how we're gonna look at things moving forward. Don't be afraid. You can DM, reach out. We can talk, have conversations. This is what it's about. We'll have editorials. Look forward. We'll pop up on YouTube real soon. And thanks for those who watch, those who reach out. On another note, just on a metaphor type of vibe. Look at your kids one day. Turn around from all this stuff that you gotta face in this world and look at your kids. And let them know all the stuff that's behind them. Let them know about their ancestry. Let them know about where they're from. Let them know about their ethnicity. Let them know everything. Take the time to do it at least once. Because when I was growing up, I'm in Boston right now. I remember growing up, all the kids that I used to go to school with, they knew their heritage. They knew if they were part Cherokee. They knew if they were part Arawak. They knew their family was from the South somewhere. Excuse the train, I'm outside. So, sit down, turn around and talk to your kids and let them know what's behind them, the things that's propelling your family forward, what your family stands for, what you believe, that type of things. So that when you turn back around, your kids will understand the space that's between you and them. It's just a thought. Think about it. When you turn around again, your kids should understand the space that's between you and them. And they'll know what's behind them and pushing everything forward. All right, that's my note for today. Enjoy your Father's Day, everybody out grilling. I'm going to go up to the park. I saw the guys yesterday. They already let me know they're going to be up there. Guys that I know for over 20 years. Dads I grew up with, playing ball with, older gentlemen, guys in the community. That's how it is. We know that's how it is today. Go out, have a good day. Be blessed. All right? And we'll take care of the general issue together. Signing off.